Hello everybody. Welcome. I got a lot to say, but hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of the CZ Productions podcast. Talking is difficult. I'm gonna put on a little bit of music, so hopefully that will be fine with you guys. This is just the Bloodborne soundtrack. And welcome. If you've never seen a podcast before, it's basically just an excuse for people to sit and talk for a while. Probably about an hour, maybe longer, who knows. Depends how long I pick a topic and stick to it. So, turn up the music just a baby bit more. A couple things I want to say at the beginning. One, thank you everybody for... Oh, I forgot to mute myself. Nice. Already off to a great start. In case you've never seen like one of my video series, the first episode is always the worst. So, you know, I'm sure this is gonna be great and all, but keep in mind, first is the worst. So, first thing I want to start off by saying is that to people who are watching the show live, I will not be replying to any comments on the live show. But if you go ahead and you put in all capital letters question followed by a question that you want me to answer during this podcast, then at the end, after I go through my topics for the podcast, I will go through and I will answer questions. People who are watching on YouTube, when this is eventually uploaded, edited together and uploaded, comment below any questions that you want. I will pick some questions and I will answer it in the next podcast. So on all my podcasts, I'm going to end it off by answering questions, but just for regular comments, I will not be replying to during the live stream. Okay, I think we all got it. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, check the description. Not watching the live stream on YouTube, you're watching the actual video, which will be up in several days after I cut together some footage and stuff to go along with this. But if you are interested in an audio only version, an MP3 that you can download, you can check the description. There will be a link there. It'll be a fairly small file, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, and you can download the podcast. You can listen to it for yourself. You can listen to it anywhere. With all that being said, I want to start off by just talking to you guys a little bit about me, the person behind the camera, behind the personas. Every now and then you get to talk to me a little bit, or at least listen to me, I suppose, through vlogs. Vlogs have always been my medium to talk to you guys as me, and not as a character. And practically all the content on the channel is as some character in some shape or form. And every now and then in the live streams and stuff like that, I'll say some words, especially if there's like a tragedy or something like that, then obviously I'll talk about it a little bit, out of character. But for the most part, I'm in character here. I'm actually gonna turn the music down a little. Just down a little bit. Come on, there we go. So, let's talk about me a little. Everything that I can talk about. Oh, and if anybody's wondering about the vest, it's a workout vest, so it goes up to 120 pounds. You put weights in it, and it helps you, you know, work out your legs and stuff like that. So that's what it's for. I'm using it specifically for cardio reasons, so I can run further. I'm gonna train for a while with the vest on, slowly adding more weight onto it, and then end up taking it off. And hopefully, if my fitness trainer is correct, it'll help, because I've kind of hit a wall in terms of how far I can run. But anyway, that's just in case anyone was curious, because I'm obviously wearing a vest. So a bit about me. My name is Zach. You probably already know that. Lived in Oregon for almost all of my life. I moved down here to Vegas, Nevada, a couple years ago. It's getting close to 2 years. Really, it was a year and some change ago. But getting close to 2 years I've lived here in Vegas. I am a full-time college student. I am studying biochemistry and planning to go into the field of forensics. The field of forensics, I've always found it funny because when you tell people that you work in forensics or that you're going in forensics, a lot of people don't believe you. Like, they think it's like some really hard job to get into, and I think that's because there's a lot of misinformation about forensics, and I actually get a lot of questions about forensics, and I can't talk about specific cases. Well, I can if the details have been made public. That's also a big misnomer. People think like, oh, you can't talk about anything that you ever work on in forensics. It's all like classified. That's not true at all. Any details that become public, you're allowed to talk about, and that goes for any law enforcement. You're just not allowed to talk about details that you may know that are not public. And so people have like this feeling, I guess, or I don't know where this came from, that forensics is this super hard job to get into. It's like super elite. It's really not, and it's nothing like it is in the shows, unfortunately. In order to burst your guys' bubble, I'm not some fucking secret agent and I'm hunting down criminals and catching them or anything like that. Honestly, I very rarely even go to crime scenes because that's not my job. That's a CSI's job, which a lot of the shows that you see are following CSI, crime scene investigators, and those are the people who are, I mean, it varies a lot. Forensics, here's the thing about forensics, is that it varies a ton depending on where you are, depending on what's necessary. For example, when I was in Oregon, there was no need for specialists within forensics. Anybody who's watched the show Dexter, not Dexter's Laboratory, Dexter where he's a serial killer. Dexter in that show is a forensics specialist. He specializes in blood splatter analysis, which is where he's basically like Sherlock Holmes. He looks at a blood splatter and he can tell you exactly when and where how it happened and the trajectory and all stuff like that. That doesn't really exist in real life. In real life, there are specialists in the forensic field. I am actually one of them. I'm going to be a forensic chemist, which is a specific form of forensics, but most places, like when I was in Oregon, they don't have need for specialists because their crime rating isn't that high. You only need specialists if it's a special case. I'm saying special a lot, but if it's a specific case where you're like, man, the people that we have here are not really like specialized in this. So a lot of the specialists, they don't actually work for law enforcement, they work for the FBI, which is what I'm actually going for, is I'm trying to work for the FBI and be a forensic chemist. But you don't start off there, and I'm very much starting off. So you start off taking internships, which I've taken a few of at local law enforcements, and they will kind of pair you with the head of lab or even one of the lower forensic scientists, and you kind of just do the busy work for them, and that's your way in. And you're doing that sometimes for college credit. A lot of times for college credit, actually, they'll accept internships for some extra college credit that you can get. And sometimes if you get super lucky, like I have, you can have a paid internship, which is where you don't get paid a lot, but you are basically doing the work you would for an internship, where you're doing it to get college credits, but you're doing it for money instead. And but a lot of people just have this misconstrued idea of what forensics is, and I get a lot of questions about it, so I thought I'd talk about it a little. And forensics, the type of forensics that I'm going into and that I'm doing, I don't go on crime scenes or anything like that. You spend almost all of your time in the lab or in the court, and so you're spending almost all of your time in the lab. You're analyzing, especially me, I'm a forensic chemist or going into forensic chemistry, and so you're spending all of your time analyzing samples that people have collected from the crime scenes. Maybe CSIs have, some places have a job specifically for somebody to go out and collect, evidence and stuff like that at a scene. But that's not what I do. All I do is spend almost all my time in a lab analyzing samples that have been brought to me, and then filing the paperwork is most of it. It's not very exciting, guys. It's not like you know, CSI or something where I'm fighting criminals and shit. I'm spending almost all my time just analyzing samples, preparing the paperwork for those samples to back up my analysis, and then eventually going to court. When everything is said and done, you go to court, and you basically go to court and you back up your findings. You say, yes, I am this is what I found. Here's all the paperwork that backs it up, all of my tests. Yes, I'm confident I didn't make any mistakes. Yes, I'm confident, you know, by the data that I have found, this person is the most likely suspect. That's what I do. And I just want to talk about that because there are a lot of people that don't believe I'm in forensics or going or pursuing a career in forensics, and it doesn't take a lot of work to get into forensics, guys. It really doesn't. You can get an internship basically like that. They're constant. Most law enforcement places will actually have it on their website. You can apply for an internship there as long as you're pursuing a degree in, like, you know, criminal justice or chemistry or biology or biochemistry. Then you can get an internship. You can get in there. You can start doing some of the work yourself. It's really not that hard. In order to get an entry-level job, all you need is a bachelor's in some form of science. So a bachelor's in chemistry or biology or biochemistry. It's not very difficult. And so hopefully that will alleviate some of the questions that people have about, or just the disbelief that I'm not actually in forensics. And once again, I'm not a full-on forensic scientist right now. I am finishing my second year of college, so that's impossible because you have to have, like I said, 4 years. You have to have your bachelor's degree. And so right now, very much in the entry position, very much in the trainee position in my job. And personally, for me, I really enjoy it. But the reason I don't talk about it a ton is because, like I said, you're not allowed to talk about cases that you're working on and what's public. And most of the stuff, when we are working on it, when forensics is working on it, is not public information, right? So if we find samples, and this is all hypothetical, by the way, but say the Vegas shooting that just happened, say we find sample, once again, all hypothetical, none of this actually happened, okay? I want to make that very clear. None of this actually happened. But say we find a sample that alludes to a second shooter, right? As we are testing that, it's very much not public at all because it just alludes to it. We don't make anything public in law enforcement, in forensics, or anything like that until it's 100% certain. So, once again, that never happened. There was only one shooter, okay? Calm down, everyone. But I'm just saying that a lot of the reason I don't talk about my job is because when I'm in the process of working on stuff, it's very much still not public information yet. Also, because the reason I don't talk about a lot of stuff in my life is because I respect my family's wishes, and my family's wishes is that they aren't on camera at all. They aren't really talked about. The internet doesn't know who they are. And so, because of that, I just don't talk about stuff that could allude to, you know, my full name or where I am, because then that could allude to their full names and who they are and where they are and stuff like that. So I just respect my family's wishes. They don't want to be on camera like that. So that's a bit about me. In terms of my personality behind the camera, I describe myself as kind of a dick. I'll be 100% honest. A lot of people find me to be a bit of a dick because I am extremely honest to a fault, honestly. That's a lot of honesty. But I'm honest to a fault. So if somebody asks me a question, I'm going to give them the answer. I may sugarcoat it a little bit, right? So if a girl asks me, does this make my butt look fat? I'm not gonna be rude and say, yes, you look like a fucking cow, right? But I'm gonna say, yeah, it does. It makes you look fat, right? And so as a result, a lot of people, they say that they want honesty. They really don't in life. Most of the time, they don't. And so a lot of people consider me a dick. But that's just my life. That's just my personality. It's who I am. I've had recently, actually on YouTube, I've had people complaining, saying, oh my god, you're so horrible. because of the way that I've been replying to some constructive criticism comments. I always welcome constructive criticism, right? If you watch this podcast and you say, I don't think there should be music, that's completely fine. You know, that's constructive criticism. Just say, I don't think there should be music, or I think the music should be louder, or whatever. That's completely fine. Constructive criticism is stuff that I can improve the video quality with. The other day I got a comment that was constructive criticism that said, hey, you need to stop saying what the fuck or what the hell, because I find it annoying. So basically this person is saying that I need to completely change the way that I'm talking because some dude that I don't know finds it annoying. And that's not constructive feedback, guys. It's not. I'm not going to change the way that I speak just because some random guy on the internet finds it annoying. I'm sorry, I'm not going to. The way I speak is the way I speak. I'm not going to change that. And so I replied, basically that, exactly that, right? I replied to his comment. I said, listen, dude, I'm not going to change the way I speak. That's not really constructive criticism. And then I said, you know, save that kind of criticism for other people or whatever, right? I was fairly nice about it, but I just said basically I'm not gonna make a change. Then he replies saying that he was just trying to help me, and I found that really fucking funny. It's like somebody comes up to you and they say, listen, dude, the way you talk, like everything that you say, the way that you talk, I find it very annoying. But no offense, but I find it very annoying, and I think you should stop because you sound annoying, so I think you should talk differently. I'm like, that's fucking rich, dude. That's hilarious. So I replied to him, and I basically just told him, listen, go away. Just go away. I don't want your advice. Just go away. I don't know you. Just go, right? Just go away. And a ton of people got very upset by that. A ton of people on my YouTube got very upset. They started replying to the comment. They started saying, man, I was going to subscribe, but seeing the way that you handled this was just appalling, and I'm not subscribing now. And, you know, as someone who's very honest, I just replied with, I don't care if you subscribe or not. Go away. You don't matter to me. And that's 100% the truth. I didn't know this person. I don't care about this person. I don't do this for the subscribers. I don't do this for the views or the likes or the dislikes. I have likes. I have dislikes off. I have subscribers off. I have all of that stuff off, guys. I don't do any of this for the views. I do it because I like to do it. And because a couple people that I actually genuinely like me to do it. So I don't care about like, oh, I lost a subscriber because I was honest. Oh well, like I said. So a lot of people find me to be a dick, and that's completely fine. I'm an acquired taste. It's fine. But the people that I do like, I'm genuinely very kind to. I help them out when they need help. I give them advice when they need advice. I help them through situations, and I am there for them as much as possible. But here's the thing, guys. Life is too short to spend time on people you don't like. So if I find somebody annoying, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to act nice to them. If somebody comes into my chat while I'm live streaming and they break a rule or they're being annoying, and I just don't like them, right? First impressions are everything. If you make a poor first impression with me, I'm going to tell you to get the fuck out of the stream. I'm going to tell you to get out of here. And if you're expecting some sort of nice guy where I'm gonna be like, hey everyone, just subscribe to me, we can all be friends, even if I absolutely hate your guts and find you super annoying, but thanks for the subscription, donate too while you're at it, give me money too, because that's why I'm doing this, just for the money, I'm fake as hell. You're subscribed to the wrong person. You're watching the wrong person. I'm always going to be honest with you guys, and if I find one of you annoying, I'm going to tell you I find you annoying. If I want one of you to get out of my chat, I'm going to tell you to get the hell out of my chat. Okay? That's a bit about me. Alright? Now you know. The guy behind the camera. He's a bit of a dick. He's not very emotional. He's a very logical, rational human being. Except when he gets triggered by stupid comments, in which case he's just gonna tell you to get the fuck out. Okay? Okay. So let's move on now to stuff not about me, alright? Even though it'll probably end up being about me anyway. This is a bit of an old event that happened. It's probably like a month old now, but I want to talk about it because I never talked about it at the time, and it has very interesting implications that I think are important that we talk about, and that's the PewDiePie N-word censorship fiasco. So in case you guys somehow don't know, about a month ago, maybe longer, maybe shorter, I don't know, PewDiePie was streaming. He said the N-word, hard R and all, and the internet freaked out about it. Of course they did, right? I don't really want to talk about that part. I don't care. Everything has been said that needs to be said about it. To me personally, it's just a fucking word. Stop getting triggered over words. Jesus Christ. I know the N-word doesn't apply to me, right? I'm not the demographic that's gonna get triggered by it, but there are plenty of words that are designed to trigger me, that people say all the time. I'm bisexual, so whenever someone says faggot or queer or, you know, any of that stuff, I mean, technically speaking, that targets me. Oh, I don't care though. I never have. So I'm just saying, if people say racist stuff about white people, or people say horrible things about the gays, I don't care, because they're just words. But I know not everybody has that viewpoint. Some of you are little jelly babies, and you need your safe spaces, and words are just so horrible. So that's fine if you are. That's fine. There's plenty of other people like you. Go hang out with them. Don't hang out with me, because I have a fairly edgy sense of humor, and I'll probably trigger you in some way, shape, or form. But go hang out with those other sensitive bitches. Anyway, so what happened after he said the N-word hard R, and there was this whole fiasco, is the interesting part to me, because a developer said that they copyright flagged his video that they made like a year ago on their game. They gave him a DMCA takedown on it, and they said basically because he's childish and they don't want him making money off their game, which is funny because he already made all the money off that video, right? He's already spent that fucking money off the video, and guess what, developer? You've made money off of that video too, because that video probably sold a lot of copies of your games. And so that's the interesting part to me, though, is the idea that if we as content creators are not 100% PC, right? Or maybe, let's say we talk about politics, right? And you're a hardcore Republican, and you're talking about hardcore Republican things on your live stream or on your video, and the developer of that game is a hardcore Democrat, and they decide, you know what, I don't like his political views, but guess what? He's playing my video game, so I can copyright flag his video, ruin his channel. That's what's interesting to me, is that we're living in a state of potential censorship. Potentially, us as content creators are going to have to censor ourselves in order to fit the agenda of the person who made the video game that we're playing. And that's very scary to me. And that's something that I wanted to talk about, but I never got a chance to, because that's terrifying. As someone like me, who I have characters who are even edgier than me, and I enjoy a good bit of edgy humor, that's scary. Because in case you guys don't know, a copyright flag fucks your channel. Completely fucks you. It makes it so you can't upload videos longer than 15 minutes. It makes it so you can't live stream. It makes it all sorts of shit. It just ruins your channel for like 6 months. That's a long time, guys. That's a long time. At least I'm pretty sure it's 6 months. I know community flags are that long, and community flags and copyright flags are different, but at least that's how it works with community guideline strikes, which I've gotten 2 of in the past, because I'm just so damn edgy. It's scary that, you know, we may start living in a situation where the only YouTubers you see are children-friendly, kid-friendly, people, ad-friendly, people, because all these edgy people are just getting pushed to the sidelines. They're getting their videos demonetized. This kind of goes into adpocalypse, but anybody who's making any sort of decent content that isn't child friendly is getting hit with demonetization. Or in this case, if you're playing a video game, they can just take down your fucking video and basically take down your channel with it. It's scary to me, and I think that it does go in line with all of these people being overly sensitive and overly triggered that they can't take opinions from somebody else. Honestly, is it messed up that PewDiePie said N-word with a hard R on stream? Sure. Absolutely. Right? I'm not upset by it. I don't personally care, but I know someone out there is upset by it. So sure. And he knew it was wrong, in case you're one of those people who are like, no, it definitely wasn't wrong. I mean, he kind of admitted that it was wrong because he made an apology video about it. You don't make an apology video about something unless you did something wrong. And so, it's interesting to me that we're starting to live in a society where if you say the wrong thing at all, you're gonna be censored. Because this is what it was. This is PewDiePie getting censored by a game developer that didn't like that he used a word. It's a little scary. It's a little spooky to me. And I know it's old news, but once again, I never got a chance to talk about it, and I wanted to talk about it. And I wanted to also talk about it when all the heatedness had subsided, when all the triggered people had subsided, so we didn't have to worry about, you know, stepping on eggshells or anything like that. But it is a scary thought, and I hope it doesn't become the norm for people to just avoid talking about anything political, people to avoid talking about any tragedies or anything horrible, just because of the fact that, oh, a developer might be watching and they may take down your video. I hope that isn't the case. Next, for the last bit of the serious topics that I want to talk about normally on this show, I will start off with serious topics that I want to talk about. That way we can end off the show on a higher note, because that's what I want to do. So in terms of serious topics, even though we kind of just talked about one pretty serious topic, but this is actually a very serious topic, and one that still has a lot of emotions around it. It's been a little over a week now since the Las Vegas shooting, Las Vegas massacre, whatever you want to call it. I wanted to talk about that. If you're not into political stuff and you're watching this on YouTube as a video, then skip forward a little bit. Note that I'm not the kind of person who is ever going to force my opinions on you. I'm not going to use a tragedy in a way, Jimmy Kimmel, to force my political opinion on you. I'm not going to try and gain your sentiment in order to buy you over to my political viewpoints. But I do just want to talk about this whole scenario. I want to talk about the situation itself and how people are applying it to guns as a whole. So the first thing that I want to say before I even get into this is that my family, we own guns. We've always owned guns. We own handguns, we own shotguns, we own semi-automatic rifles as well, such as an AR-15, which is the gun that a lot of people are trying to ban. And they always are trying to ban these things, right? Whenever there's a shooting, it's all a cycle. A famous man once said, and I absolutely love this quote, "There's nothing new under the sun except the history that you don't know." And it's completely true. To put that in layman's terms, it just means everything's a cycle. The only time you're ever going to think something is new is if you don't know your history, because everything just repeats and repeats and repeats. And that's exactly what we've seen with the Las Vegas shooting, is that there's this tragedy, but instead of mourning those who we have lost, people take it upon themselves who weren't even affected by this tragedy. Like, let's be honest, a lot of the people talking about this and turning this into a political debate about guns weren't even affected. I live in Vegas. I was affected. I know people who were injured. I know someone who was killed, right? They were coworkers of mine who were injured. And with that, I feel like I can talk about this, and I'm going to try and be as objective as possible when talking about this. So let's talk about it. The situation, in case somehow you guys don't know what happened. There was a concert with over 30,000 people at it. A man was in a hotel. He was on the 32nd floor of that hotel. He bashed out the windows. He had snuck in 10 firearms, and many of them, you know, semi-automatic rifles. And he busted out the windows, and he shot down at the crowd of 30,000 people. I believe the most recent count that I heard was 59 killed, over 500 wounded. Those numbers may be a little bit off, but they're right around the ballpark. And let's talk about the actual what happened, right? The actual how it happened was a guy was able to sneak 10 guns into a hotel. Yes, they were snuck into the hotel, by the way. He didn't just, you know, walk in, because that hotel apparently does not allow firearms. So they were snuck in. And the actual act of breaking out the windows, shooting down at a crowd of 30,000 people. People are using this event to talk about semi-automatic weapons such as an AR-15 and say that he could only do this shooting. He could only hurt this many people because he had an AR-15. And guys, honestly, objectively, that's not true at all. He was looking at a killing field. He has the high ground. He's looking down on a crew, on a group of over 30,000 people. Even if he had 2 handguns, right? All he has 2 handguns, but say he has lots of ammo. All he had to do was shoot those handguns. Just shoot those handguns into that crowd. And guess what? Still would have been a lot killed. Still would have been a lot injured. And all he had to do, reload, keep doing it, shoot, reload, keep doing it. That's all he had to do. So the argument of, oh, this could only be done with a semi-automatic rifle is just completely untrue. He could have done it with, you know, handguns if he wanted to. The argument for the bump stock, in case you guys don't know the reason he was able to fire his weapon so quickly, no, they were not fully automatic. Fully automatic weapons need a very high FFL, a federal firearm license, to be able to purchase, or to be able to manufacture them yourself. So if you have a certain FFL, which once again, federal firearms license, you can basically buy a semi-automatic gun. You can modify it to be fully automatic, but he was not shooting fully automatic. He was using what's called a bump stock. A bump stock is a magazine with a spring in it. So you press the trigger of your weapon, and then you hold your trigger finger in place. And what happens is, since that stock has a spring in it, the gun will bump back with the recoil, hence the term bump stock. Then it will bump forward again, where if you're holding your finger in the same position, your finger will then again pull the trigger. And so the recoil keeps bringing the trigger back and back and back repeatedly. So it's allowing the gun to shoot at a very high fire rate. But once again, for all intensive purposes, it's not technically fully automatic. It's just, you could shoot the gun at that speed if you had a really fast trigger finger as well. So it's not fully automatic. But in terms of bump stocks, I have no problem with, in order to get a bump stock, you need a federal firearms license that's higher. I have no problem with that. But in terms of just the arguments that you can only use, he could have only done this with semi-automatic rifles, with an AR-15 or something like that. It's just not true, guys. It's objectively not true. He could have done this with any gun. He just set it up in the, as horrible as it is to say, the right way in order for him to maximize his killing potential. He had the high ground, and he was shooting into a crowd of 30,000. He didn't need to be accurate. He didn't need to have an accurate gun. He just needed to shoot. That's it. And so, honestly, to give my opinions, because people are saying that we need to make it harder to purchase guns, right? A lot of people are saying that, and so I thought, I just turned 21, and so when you turn 21 in the United States, it allows you to buy a handgun. There are lots of loopholes that people have talked about where you can actually get a handgun through private sales, but for all intents and purposes, you have to be 21 in order to buy a handgun. And you need to be 18 in order to buy anything else, in order to buy rifles or shotguns, in order to buy, which I've always thought those are opposite, to be entirely honest. I've never understood why you can buy a rifle at 18, but you can only buy a handgun at 21, and like I said before, yes, there is a loophole through private sales that you can get a handgun when you're 18, but it's, so I've been going through the process. I just turned 21, what was that, yesterday? No, 2 days ago, on October 9th, I turned 21, and so what I really wanted to do was go out, buy a handgun, and also get my concealed weapons permit, so I would be able to, carry that handgun everywhere that I go. Obviously not in federal buildings and stuff like that, or when they don't want guns being carried, but for the most part. And once again, this just comes from my family always owning guns, and true story real quick, because my father was carrying a weapon with him, his life was actually probably saved when I was younger. My dad, he did not have a concealed weapons permit, but he was open carrying. He was in a grocery store. He was in a Safeway, which ironically is called Safeway, even though this happens and makes it very unsafe. But he was open carrying his handgun, a .45, in the store, and he saw a guy that was acting very suspicious. He was standing by the register. He was just standing there for whatever reason. He's standing by like the bagging section, right? And so my dad was looking at him for a while, and my dad is a big guy, right? Like, I'm a really skinny guy. My dad is nothing like me. He's 6'3" or something like that. He's very tall. He's bald. He has a goatee. He's really built. He's scary, right? My dad is a scary guy. Nothing like me. Who knows, man? I don't know. Maybe that'll be me in the future. I really doubt it. But he's a scary guy. When people see him and me next to each other, they do not think I'm his son. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm adopted. But, so he's open carrying at the store, and he sees this guy. He's acting weird, but, you know, he's not really doing anything. And then the guy, as he's standing next to the register for a while, he sits down on a bench or whatever. And so my dad just doesn't really think anything of it, right? He's like, okay, sure, that guy was being a little weird, but he's doing his own thing now. So my dad, you know, he scans up his groceries, he bags them up, he leaves. Less than 10 minutes later, there was an armed robbery at that same store that he was at by the person that he thought looked suspicious. And there was several people wounded in that robbery, and the guy robbed the place. Like I said, he had a handgun. And so you think to yourself, and you think, well, that guy was right there. Why didn't he rob the place when my dad was there, right? Why did he wait 10 minutes? Why did he wait for my dad to get into his car and drive off before he robbed the place? Because he had open carry. Most likely. I mean, sure, my dad's a big dude. He's, you know, 6 foot. He's well built. But if my dad didn't have a gun on him and that robber didn't see that he had a gun, then he most likely would have just robbed the place then and there. And so inadvertently, whether my dad meant to or not, by him carrying that weapon, it put off a robbery. Sure, only for 10 minutes it still ended up happening, but who knows? It could have saved my dad's life. The fact that he had a handgun, the fact that the perpetrator saw it, they said, all right, I'm not gonna do anything until this guy gets in his car and drives away, because this guy has a handgun and he could kill me. So, that's 100% true story, and because of that, and who knows, once again, who knows if maybe it was just because my dad's a tall buff dude, ball and a goatee, could be, but I mean, I think if you have a gun, you don't really care about some buff dude, because at the end of the day, a gun beats buff dude every single time, right? It's like rock, paper, scissors, but then you pull out a gun. Gun's always gonna win. It doesn't matter how muscly you are. And so I'm almost 100% confident that that person did not rob the store at that time because they saw he had a weapon. And because of that, I've always been a strong believer in being able to carry, a handgun. So once I turned 21, I said, all right, I'm buying a handgun, I'm buying a holster, I'm gonna open carry until I complete the class so I can concealed carry. And so I've been going through the process right now of buying a handgun. And so I thought it was good that since I'm buying guns right now, I'm also looking to buying a shotgun for home defense, because we currently, we had somebody move out who took a lot of the guns with him because he owned a lot of the guns. And so currently right now we just have several handguns. Handguns aren't really ideal for defending your house. You typically want a shotgun because that's going to do plenty of damage to the perpetrator, and not a lot of damage to your surroundings, right? That's why you're not going to use an AR-15 for home defense against a dude, because you're going to shoot him, that 5.56 bullet's going to go through like 3 of your walls as well as him, and who knows, you don't want to, you know, shoot somebody in another room or something, which is why shotguns are ideal for home defense, and usually because, you know, the short engagement distance of somebody breaking into your home. So since I'm going through the process of purchasing a gun right now, I thought we could talk about the actual logistics of purchasing a gun instead of our boy Jimmy Kimmel, who said a lot of false things in his video that was #1 on trending and got like 10 million views or whatever. So I could tell you guys about the process of buying a gun, what the actual process is here in America. So I went to a lot of gun stores to look at what they had, to see if they had anything, but I already knew generally what I wanted. I wanted a 1911 model, I wanted it in 9mm, and if possible, I wanted a stainless steel version, just because that's been my dream. That's been my dream for a while, is to have a stainless steel 1911 model weapon. And so it's my favorite gun. Thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. But anyway, sorry. So I went in and was looking at several gun stores. We have quite a lot here in Vegas. We actually have Spartan Arms, which is like one of the most famous gun stores, I believe, in the United States. It's very famous. It's on the Strip, and didn't get a chance to go there just because there was actually a fire on the Strip, and so a lot of stuff was closed down. Nice. But anyway, so here's the process. I went to the stores, didn't find the gun that I wanted. I talked to the guy, I said, listen, can I just order a gun online, right? Can I find something online that I want? And he says, yeah, here's the process. So this is what I have done. There's a website. I'm sure there's plenty of websites that sell firearms. There's a website, though, called Gun Broker. Gun Broker is, for all intents and purposes, eBay, but for guns, which sounds scary to a lot of people, but just wait until I tell you all the steps that you have to go through and why you can't just say, oh, okay, I'm gonna order this Amazon style, they ship it to your house, you're good to go, you order some bullets with it, right? And you're like, okay, I just got a home delivery of guns and bullets. That's not how it works. So you actually have to pay a fee even in order to make an account on Gun Broker, which I found interesting. I've never seen that before. Like, imagine if in order to make an eBay or an Amazon, you had to pay a fee. It was very strange to me. It was only $1 though, so I didn't really care. But so you pay the fee, you register, you make your profile, then you use their search engine. You find there's hundreds of thousands of weapons listed on there from people who are selling their weapons completely legally, by the way. They are 100% legally selling their weapons. They have all the licenses and paperwork and stuff like that required to do so. Most of the places selling are storefronts. just trying to offload some of their extra merchandise that people aren't buying in their stores. So I look up the 1911 model, I look up that I prefer it in stainless steel, I look up that I prefer it in 9mm, just because that way I can have larger magazine size, and lower recoil, for right now. That's why I didn't get the 45, and I find something that I like, right? So I look at it, I see the price is pretty good, it's $535, you pay $35 for shipping, I'm like, alright, $570-ish, for this. Obviously I do some more research beyond that. I look up some reviews of the weapon just to make sure it's a solid gun, and then I do order. In order to order it, the process fairly simple. You go through a checkout where you've done it before. You put your billing, you say you're okay with all the fees, but here's where it gets different, and here's where it's not as easy as a lot of people think. You have to put in an FFL transfer. Like I touched on previously, an FFL is a federal firearms license. What that means is that somebody has went through the process. It's not very hard. I'm actually looking to get my own FFL right now. But they went through the process of filling out the paperwork, and meeting with a government official who has interviewed them for upwards of 3 hours. So not only do you have to fill out this form that says that you want to have a federal firearms license, not only do you have to include like 6 pictures of yourself, not only do you have to include your thumbprints, but you also have to pay, did I say $200? You have to pay $200 to send it in, just in order to apply for the damn license. Then they take the government, some government appointed official, they come out, they interview you to make sure you're not insane, and then assuming all of that goes well, then you can be the proud owner of a federal firearms license, which for now on I'm just going to call FFL because it's easier. So everybody who is selling on that website has an FFL practically all of them have an FFL, so they are all confirmed not crazy, or if they are crazy, they're very good at acting not crazy. So then you need to put in somebody in your area that has an FFL that the gun can be transferred to, because they cannot ship to you unless you have an FFL. So all these people who think it's like as simple as you go online, you buy a gun, it's shipped to your house. That's not the case unless you have an FFL. And if you have an FFL, you're not crazy because you went through all those steps I already touched on. So I don't have an FFL yet. So I reach out to one of my local gun stores. I say, hey, is it cool if I get this sent to you? And they're like, yeah, dude, we don't care. Like, this happens all the time. I say, okay. So I put down them for my FFL. Then the seller, they need confirmation of that person's license, right? They need them to like scan their federal firearms license, have it as a PDF, and email it to the seller, so the seller can make 100% sure that that person does have the required licensing. Like I said, quite a lot of stops. It's not quite a lot of steps. It's not as simple as just ordering the thing on eBay. Then I'm currently in the process of the person gets the confirmation that the location that you want to ship to, the holder that does have their FFL. So now I'm in the process of the seller shipping to that gun store. Then after that, I need to go to the gun store. I need to pay the transfer fee to the gun store, because obviously they want something for holding it for you. So you pay the transfer fee, and then also you get a background check. Yes, kids, unlike what Jimmy Kimmel said, you do actually have to have background checks when you buy weapons. Who would have thought? When you buy weapons online specifically, because he said for some reason if you buy weapons online you don't need a background check, and that's just 100% not true. And so I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna have my background check confirmed. Obviously I've had background checks done before. I work with law enforcement. They know all of your past that's ever happened, right? They know every fucking speeding ticket that you've gotten. They probably know your search history on your browser too, to be honest. But so I'm gonna go in, I have to pay the transfer fee. I have to pay them a fee to do the background check. And then once that comes out positive and it's obvious that I don't have some criminal record or something, I get my weapon. You see how long that process is. You see how many steps there are to it. It's not as easy as you just bada bing it and then you bada boom it. It is that easy for ammo though, but I mean, you know, I don't think there's a problem with ammo being shipped to you, but you can have ammo shipped to you if you want, which honestly you're probably paying more for if you compared to just like walking in Walmart and buying some ammo. But that's the process. That's the process of purchasing a gun online. And so after all of that is said and done, I thought I'd give my opinion on the process. If I think that there needs to be extra steps in order for crazy people to not get guns, I would not mind if, along with the background check, there's also a psychological evaluation. This could be, you know, whether as simple or as intricate as the government wanted to make, but I believe that just a background check is not sufficient to tell if somebody is mentally all there. And remember that not only am I'm majoring in biochemistry and I'm going into forensics, but I also have a minor in psychology. So I am minoring in psychology. I understand most of how the brain works, right? It's not like I have a PhD or something. Thank you for the follow, by the way. So I feel like I could talk a little bit, at least, about the psychological aspect of it and how these mental disorders work and stuff. And so, honestly, I would not have a problem with there being some sort of psych evaluation that you have to do. It could be something as simple as just like an 100-character quiz where a 100-question quiz where it's one of those strongly agree, strongly disagree, and it's somewhere in between there. There's several false questions so you can tell if someone is obviously lying. Those tests are very well done. I've taken dozens of them before and they're always right on the mark. Even if you try and fake the results, fake that you're 100% sane, you end up wrongly answering, and you end up wrongly answering the sort of like false question that gets you. If you're, and they have like a dozen false questions that'll get you that are designed to tell if you're lying, and they also have tons of conflicting questions that really are asking the same thing but worded differently, so if your answer is not the same within them, it shows that something is off. I've done dozens of them. They work. They're accurate, and they don't take very long to do either. I had 1 hour-long class where we tested 4 of these tests, and each one of them had over 100 questions. So it doesn't take very long to fill out one of these forms either. It's not like you're going in there and you're going to be standing there. You can pay them for the background check, and then while they're doing the background check, you can go ahead and go through and you can do the psych evaluation. I think that would be a natural process anyway, because typically you have to wait a while for the background check. You bada bing it, you fill it out, maybe, who knows, 15, 20 minutes, it's done. They take a look at it, put it through the, you know, maybe they have something that automatically grades it. I don't know. I've never actually graded one of them. I've just taken a lot of them and had them graded. But, you know, I do think there should be some other step of psych evaluation, but there are already a lot of steps to get a weapon here in the United States, and I just hate hearing somebody as prominent as Jimmy Kimmel try and give you guys false information, because that's ultimately what it is. He also said something about how someone's trying to pass a bill to make it easier to get suppressors, which is sort of true, I suppose. The bill currently in proposition is to remove the $200 tax fee that you have to pay for each suppressor, because in case you don't know, anybody can buy a suppressor. You don't need any sort of federal firearms license to do it, but you have to pay the $200 stamp, and then you also have to submit an application. So it's very similar actually to an FFL. You need your fingerprints, you need all sorts of stuff. Very similar to an FFL. But that $200 tax stamp is what they're trying to get rid of, because honestly that money is just going to the NRA. That's why they want to get rid of it, is because all of these like fees that you have to pay are really just so the companies can make some money off of you. So that's what the bill is trying to get to. Will that make it easier to get a suppressor? If you have $1,000 to spend on a fucking suppressor, because that's how expensive they are, I don't think the extra $200 is what's putting you off from a suppressor. I think it's the application, and the application's going to say the exact same. So I don't know. Suppressors are ultimately luxury items, and you know, I can't think of any shooting that's been done, any mass shooting that's been done with the suppressor, so I don't think that they're like a big concern. Like, ooh, and suppressors, they don't make guns fucking silent, man. They're still loud. You should probably still wear ear protection with them unless you're shooting like a 22 suppressor or something. But anyway, there's just a lot of misinformation in what Jimmy Kimmel talked about, and since I just turned 21 and I'm going through the process of buying a gun, I thought it would be great that after, you know, the unfortunate tragedy of the Las Vegas shooting, now that that is starting to simmer down, I know a lot of people who are still very upset. Hell, the other day, it was fucking tough, dude. Like I said, one of my coworkers passed away. It was tough because his wife came in and she had to grab his stuff, and I won't lie, man, I got a little fucking choked up. I did. I'm getting a little choked up just thinking about it, because it was just like, fuck, like, it was sort of like, man, this guy's been calling in sick a lot, and then she comes and takes his stuff, and it's fucking rough, dude. But since we're over a week past it, I thought it would be, you know, good to talk about it. It would be interesting to talk about, you know, the gun aspect of it. And then also in terms of like, oh, he could have only done this shooting with an AR-15 or with a semi-automatic rifle, and how that's just objectively not true, and he could have done this with any weapon. And people constantly ask, why should we have, you know, semi-automatic rifles? And I can understand why people are asking that, right? Because people are under the assumption that we should only own guns for hunting or for self-defense, and you don't need an AR-15 for self-defense. But I'll remind you why we have the Second Amendment. We have the Second Amendment just in case we have a tyrannical government, and the government tries to take control of us or tries to take stuff away from us, and we need weapons in order to combat the government in case that ever happened. Will it happen? Who knows, right? I can't say for sure. It probably will never happen in my lifetime, but you try and say the government and the military, they do try and, you know, do some tyrannical shit. You want to have a weapon that's capable of opposing the military. And to be 100% honest, just a handgun is not going to be sufficient when you're dealing with people with bulletproof vests that are designed to stop, you know, handgun rounds. And they have, you know, fully automatic rifles and stuff like that. The Second Amendment was created in order to combat a tyrannical government. And so that would be my argument for us owning AR-15s. Whether or not that will actually happen, who knows? But hey, fucking China invades us, which I think is probably more likely than our own government coming after us, but who knows? If China invades us or something, then I'd prefer to have an AR-15 instead of just a handgun. But like I said, AR-15s, they're not used for home defense. They're really not. If you're using an AR for home defense, like I said, you're going to shoot through 4 or 5 walls. But that would be my defense. I don't know. Would I really care if semi-automatic rifles such as an AR-15 were made illegal? Probably not. I wouldn't care too much. I don't own one. I used to, but I don't anymore. So I don't know. I've never in my life had a need for an AR-15, but I understand people just don't like their rights taken away, right? If somebody has had a right for hundreds of years to own, you know, weapons, and then you try and take that right away, of course people are going to be objective to it, or people are going to object to it. Of course people aren't going to want it, and I understand both sides, I really do, but I would lean more towards just let the people keep it, because the majority of people who have ARs aren't shooting people. So who cares? Who cares? It's such a minority of people. Shootings really don't happen as much as you think. And that's about all I want to say on that topic. So we got the serious topics out of the way. Let's get on to some more lighthearted talks. Okay? Such as video games. I am streaming about video games. I have a channel about video games, and I never ever get to talk as myself about video games. This has been pretty long. We're already at an hour and 10 minutes. Pretty long talk about the serious stuff, but let's talk about some PUBG, okay? Let's talk about PUBG. I've never given you guys my honest opinion on PUBG. My persona on PUBG, when I play PUBG and stream it, I'm playing the game as my overly competitive and very aggressive persona. So what's my actual opinion? Because we know my persona thinks that it's the worst game in the entire world and says it's a piece of shit. My honest opinion on PUBG is when I play PUBG, it just makes me upset. It just makes me disappointed. I think disappointment is the #1 word to describe me and PUBG. Our relationship is like, I'll watch videos, right, of people playing PUBG, or not streams of people playing PUBG, but I'll watch videos of people playing PUBG, like Acolyte, or like Jack Frags, or like some Shroud highlights, and I'm like, man, PUBG just looks so fun. And then I go to play it, and it's just disappointment, because I remember, oh shit, that great stuff, those great games, those are only like 5% of the time. The other 95% of the time is the game being a fucking glitchy mess. It runs absolutely horrible. It runs so bad. Not as bad as like an Arma, okay? So maybe horrible isn't the right word. At least when I'm playing PUBG, I get an average of like 60 to 100. Playing Arma, you get like 30, right? So it's much better than Arma. I will say that. But it's still just so obviously early access, and they say it's gonna come out at the end of the month. How? Are you guys working on some big overhaul? Are you working on putting the game on a different engine? Because I honestly do not see how you can call this a finished product by the end of the year. It's improved a ton since its original release, yes, but I don't see how PUBG can be considered out of early access in just like 2 months. That's insane. I don't see it happening personally. I think the game is a buggy fucking mess. I think it has tons of work, mainly on the performance and on the netcode. The netcode is some of the worst I have ever seen in a video game. It's that bad. It's horrendous. The amount of desync that happens when I play PUBG is appalling. It's honestly appalling that so many people are playing this game, that some people have the audacity to say that PUBG is the game of the year. It's not even out yet, guys. It's early access, okay? It doesn't even fucking count yet, for one. But early game of the year, if you think PUBG's game of the year, I'm not gonna trust you. It's like if you tell me you don't like dogs. Like right off the bat, I'm like, okay, dude, I don't trust you as a human being. There's something off about you, and I don't know what it is, but I don't like you instantly. If you tell me PUBG is game of the year, that's the same sort of vibe I get with you. Like, okay, this is an unhinged man. Something is not right in this man's head that he needs to work out. And so yeah, PUBG, whenever I play it, I'm just disappointed in it. I really am. It's fun sometimes, but just so frustrating and so annoying the majority of the time that it makes me not want to play for the fun times. When they 100% fix this game, which once again, I do not see this game being out of early access in a couple months. I just don't see it. The game's still gonna be shit, probably, in terms of especially server performance. What I honestly think happened is they made this game thinking it would be fairly small, and then this game exploded, right? They had a small development team. They were working small on it. They're like, all right, this game is going to be great as long as we have, like, you know, maybe we can get like 100,000 people to get this game. Wouldn't that be great? And it's like, boom, 10 million. 10 million. And they were just like, fucking, what do we do? What do we do? We have one little server that can hold at most 100,000 people, and now we got fucking 10 million people. I think they're honestly just out of their element. They have no idea what to do. They're scared. They're freaking out inside. I'm telling you right now, they are freaking out at how successful this game is. You can tell the server performance is absolute shit. Especially at the beginning of the game where there's 100 people and the match is fucking glitching everywhere. You're landing, you teleport off a fucking roof, it breaks your legs, you're at like 10% health now. That's great. Starting off with a 90% handicap, that's nice. You're dragging to pick up guns, you're pressing F on guns, your dude's just fucking staring at them, giving them a fucking staring contest, just like, trying to pick it up mentally or something. I don't know what happens at the beginning of the game, but it's such a shit show that it would be really fun to land at the school with 10, 15 other players and go ham at each other, but it's just not fun at all because 99% of the time you try and do that, you're gonna fucking be not picking up a gun, or you're gonna be teleporting around lagging. Well, what happens all the time, thanks to desync, is you say you're running down a hall, right? A guy peeks out and he's shooting you in the ass, right? He's shooting you in the ass, but you're about to round that corner of the hall. You round the corner on the hall. You're fucking 10 footsteps down that new hallway and you die. Why? Because the desync on the servers is so bad that in that guy's view, you're still in the hallway that he's in. You're not in that completely new hallway. It happens all the time. You cross around behind cover. You're running behind cover for like a whole second before you die, and then you're just like, okay, what am I supposed to do in that situation? You can't do anything. The fucking game kills you. The player doesn't even kill you. He gets the kill, but it's really blue hole fucking you. Okay, it's like I said, you watch highlights. I think the highlights of PUBG are the best. That's what I watch. I watch PUBG highlights. I'll watch Shroud's highlights, right? But I'm not gonna sit and watch his stream because people forget that 90% of these people's streams, whether it's Dr. Disrespect, Shroud, it doesn't matter. 90% of their streams is just fucking, okay, I'm gonna go to school. Okay, I didn't get a gun. Okay, I'm dead. Or okay, I did get a gun. Okay, the server lagged, I'm dead. Like, that's 90% of the streams. Look at Shroud, right? He's putting out a highlights video every day. Those videos are about 10 minutes usually, and he streams for like 12 hours. You're telling me that out of 12 hours of footage, you could only pick 10 minutes out of it. That tells you that there's about 10 minutes. You play for 12 hours, you'll get about 10 solid minutes out of PUBG. That's the percentage you're dealing with. With the percentage, sorry, hit the mic. The percentage of shit compared to the percentage of not shit. Those are my opinions on PUBG. Just disappointed. After Fortnite came out, I played Fortnite. I did not expect a lot from Fortnite. I really didn't. I was blown away. I was blown away by the fact that Fortnite is a game on the exact same engine as PUBG. In my opinion, looks better than PUBG. I love the cartoony aesthetic to the game. Maybe not looks better in terms of like the level of detail and the textures and stuff, but the actual aesthetic of the game, I love it. Is it fair to compare the two? Maybe not, but that doesn't stop me from saying how much I love Borderlands aesthetic, because I do. So I love Fortnite's aesthetic. It makes it so clear and easy to see other players. There's no hiding in grass and shit. You can't hide in bushes actually in Fortnite, and it's pretty overpowered, and I hope they change that because it is pretty overpowered. You can also hide in trees, which is also a bit overpowered. But anyway, for the most part, You're gonna see the other players that you're fighting. The game runs flawlessly, no hiccups. The netcode is there. It's on point, man. I've had maybe one issue with the netcode, but other than that, it's on fucking point. And the number one draw, it's free to play compared to paying $30 to get into the laggy shit fest of PUBG. It's so good. I love Fortnite to death. I prefer Fortnite over PUBG every day of the week. Honestly, I do. I absolutely love Fortnite. So surprised by that game. I thought it would be a hot, steamy pile of shit. I thought someone was just like, let's take Minecraft and PUBG, bada bing, bada boom, and we'll have the biggest game ever. But it's actually good. And I think the crafting components make for a very interesting gameplay because you can create your own cover anywhere, which allows to a more aggressive playstyle because you can breach into other people's. If someone's camping a house, that's fine. Build a staircase, fucking break the ceiling, jump down, kill them, right? It's that easy. They won't see it coming. It's that sort of stuff that I think is really interesting. The destructibility is really interesting. I like it. I like Fortnite a lot more than PUBG. That's what I'm trying to say. People got very triggered. My last Fortnite stream was called the better version of PUBG. People got very upset. If you're a PUBG fanboy, just go away. Please, get off my channel. Just get off. If you cannot realize that there are objective issues with the game, get out of here. Get out of here. Anyway, that's my honest opinion on PUBG. Just disappointed. Every time I play it, I go, I cannot wait until this game is actually finished. When it's actually finished, when it actually runs at a stable frame rate, I don't care if it only runs at 60, just give me stable 60 at least. I'm dropping down to fucking 30 when I'm looking in Yasnaya. God. And I'm on a $2,000 PC. I got two 980 Ti's in there. I got an i7. 4790K overclocked to something. I don't really entirely remember. It's been a long time since I built a PC, okay? The point is, I have a PC made for 1440p. I can't even get stable frame rates with all low settings at 1080p. It needs to be fixed. Please. Okay. That's PUBG for you. That's your PUBG talk. Also, lately we've been playing some Evil Within. Evil Within 2 is coming out on Friday, just a couple of days, Friday the 13th, Evil Within 2. And so I wanted to talk about my opinions on Evil Within, my opinions on Evil Within 2. Will I stream it? Will I do videos on it? Wanted to talk about it. I absolutely am in the minority here, apparently, but I loved the Evil Within 1. I loved it. The storyline was absolutely bonkers insane, super Japanese. Just crazy. And the combat, some of the most satisfying combat I've ever played in a video game. It's up there for me with Doom 2016. That game did come out in 2016, right? I think so. It's up there with like Doom for me. The combat is just so satisfying for some reason. When you shoot a motherfucker in their head and their head explodes, and their ragdoll body goes flying around, or when you shoot them with that crossbow and it just sends them flying, it's so much fun. It's so fun. I love it. I really do. It reminds me of Resident Evil 4, but just like if you upgraded the combat a lot in Resident Evil 4. Because the combat is the one thing that's lacking in Resident Evil 4. It's fine for what it is, but albeit it's lacking. Resident Evil 4, one of my favorite games ever made, but the combat is lacking, right? You shoot some guy in the fucking face and he just goes, ah, my face, a bullet just flew through my fucking head, but I'm just gonna grab my eye for a second and then I'm good to go. In this game, you shoot some dude in the face, sure, sometimes it doesn't do a lot, but most of the time, you shoot a guy in his fucking face, the top part of his skull explodes. And it's shooting juices, man. It's shooting juices everywhere, and he's walking at you. You shoot him again, you hit him in the jaw, his fucking jaw rips off. He's walking at you, missing a fucking jaw, missing half of his skull, juice is flying everywhere. And it's so good. It's just so satisfying. Then when you get those critical headshots, their head just explodes. It paints the fucking walls with their juices. Their juices are just dripping down the walls. Their bodies go flying. I really like The Evil Within 1. That's why we're playing it before The Evil Within 2 comes out. I'm very excited for The Evil Within 2. And I'm gonna play the shit out of it. I hope it's a better port than Evil Within 1 was, though, because Evil Within 1 was a horrible port at the beginning. Just absolutely horrid. But I'm scared. I don't even know how they managed to make an Evil Within 2, because I don't know a lot of people. I've never met anyone who liked the Evil Within 1. And I don't think it got great reviews, so I don't know how they made an Evil Within 2 at all. I have no clue. Any chat engagement? No chat engagement, even though that's ironic because I'm responding to chat. No chat engagement except for questions, which I will answer at the end of the stream. The podcasts have no chat engagement because these are also going to be videos, and I don't want to be talking to chat because chat isn't going to exist for people who are watching this cataloged as a video or listening to this as a downloadable MP3, which is why there's no chat engagement except for at the very end where I answer questions. Anyway, so I just don't know anybody who liked The Evil Within, and I have no clue how they managed to make The Evil Within 2, but goddamn, I hope it's just as weird. I hope the combat is just as satisfying. I can't wait. I'm super excited to play it. Am I gonna stream it, though? No, I'm not gonna stream The Evil Within 2, but I will be doing a Let's Play on the channel, which will get absolutely no views because nobody watches my Let's Plays. But guess what, guys? I don't give a fuck. I haven't had a Let's Play on the channel for a long time, since the last visual novel that we played, which was Steins Gate. And before that, the last horror game we played was Resident Evil, and that was back in like February. So we haven't had a Let's Play on the channel. The channel is YouTube channel's been entirely like vlogs, upsetting stuff, and streams, and so I'm gonna be doing it in a Let's Play. And also, the quality of my streams is shit compared to my videos. My videos are some of the highest quality that YouTube has to offer. I'm not just tooting my own horn, I'm saying that objectively. A lot of people still are not making 1080p 60 FPS YouTube videos or 1440p 60 FPS YouTube videos. I can do either. Maybe I'll start doing 1440p 60 FPS. I don't know. Maybe. But on streaming, I can only stream in 720p 60 FPS, or else nobody's going to be able to watch it, because most people, they don't have internet fast enough that lets them watch a 1080p 60 FPS stream. Plus, Twitch is shit, and it does not let you stream at really, really high bit rates, and really, really high bit rates are required for 1080p 60 FPS. So thanks, Twitch. Appreciate ya. You wonder why YouTube is my main platform. You wonder why, Twitch. This is why. But, so, I want it to be high quality. I want it to be 1080p 60 FPS. I want it to be full ultra settings on the game. I want it to look beautiful, smooth. I got the 60 FPS webcam now as well, so we'll have the webcam on there. With the 60 FPS, right now it's only in 30 FPS mode. Because I figured, we don't need 60 for a podcast. But yeah, I will be doing a full Let's Play of that. There will probably be a video every couple of days. I'll be rolling them out. And I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I really hope it's good. And then, even if it's not good, even if Evil Within 2 is complete shit, we have Wolfenstein 2 coming at the end of October, and I know that game is going to be amazing. I know a lot of people who have gotten to play Wolfenstein 2 already at press events and stuff like that. Every single one of them has told me that it's amazing. Wolfenstein The New Order, I absolutely love that game. Another one of my favorite games ever made. We will be live streaming all of Wolfenstein The New Order before Wolfenstein 2 comes out as well, in order to get ready. God, that game is so good. Wolfenstein The New Order, if you guys have never played it, you could probably pick it up for like $15. It runs like absolute shit on PC, I will have that be said. Absolute shit, just horrible. But if you can pick it up, play it. The sound design is amazing, the music is amazing, the voice acting is amazing, the storyline's amazing, the combat's amazing, the ingenuity on the weapons is amazing. I mean, it's just really good. It's a really good video game. You should play it. It's super good. And that's about all I want to talk about in terms of regular stuff. That's about all the video games I've been playing recently. And now I'll answer some questions. So let me look through my chat arena and try and read some stuff. Some questions. How am I? Very boring question, but I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I have a cup of coffee. I never drank any of it. It's a good cup of coffee. It's hazelnut. I'm very tired. I'm wearing a fucking weight vest. It's very heavy. Not really. It's only at 25 pounds right now. But 25... When you're normally carrying a set amount of pounds and then you add 25 pounds that you're just constantly wearing all day to it, let me tell you. It's a lot. Okay? It feels like a lot, at least. I went to the store last night with this thing on because I'm like, okay, I'm wearing this thing all day, right? Looks like some weird fanny pack or something. I'm wearing it all day. I'm not taking it off, all right? I'm training. I'm wearing it all day, every single day, except for when I shower and except for when I sleep. Which I guess that's not all day, but you get me. When I'm awake, when I'm not slippery and wet, I'm wearing it. So I went to the store with it last night and people were just fucking staring at me. They were staring at me so hard. I'm like, what? I'm a skinny little white nerdy guy. What do you think I'm gonna do? You think this is a fucking bomb vest or something? Like, what the hell? It says on it, Run Max. I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know, man. People are too worried in this society. Like, what? What? It's gonna be even worse when I'm carrying, too. I was thinking about that because I'm gonna be open carrying for a while before I get to complete the class for concealed carry. So I'm gonna be open carrying this gun. I'm gonna have this vest. People are gonna be like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Look at this guy. I don't know. Maybe think I'm in a fucking SWAT team or something. I don't know. Bulletproof vests, I've thought about buying them. They're fairly cheap. They're fairly cheap. You can get one for like $200. That's pretty good. One of my thoughts on those who claim that Vegas was a false flag. They're people who know nothing. I can't talk about specifics of that stuff, but I had a guy come on and he's like, what do you think about the fact that they didn't find any shell casings? Huh? They didn't find a single shell casing. And I said, really? Because, do you know anybody personally that works forensics on that case? Did they tell you they didn't find any shell casings? Where did you get this information? People just make shit up and everybody bites on it and they just don't let go. They listen to that shit. Is that a lava lamp behind me? No. It's a Nuka-Cola Quantum. Why have I taken hundreds of tests to measure sanity? Because like I said, I minored in psychology. And in psychology, when you're learning about the tests, they give you the test in order for you to learn from it. I minored in psychology, 2 years of psychology, so I just finished my minor last term for psychology. I've taken a lot of psychological tests. Fortnite's game of the year. Oh god. Oh god. Question is, why do major streamers still play PUBG? Because it pays the bills. I actually said this in a recent vlog. I know why Shroud. Dr. Disrespect is the biggest one. Dr. Disrespect Very much like me, though. He's playing a character, but he's always talking about how horrible the game is, and he's actually being, like, genuine about it. You can tell. You can tell when he's being genuine, and you can tell when he's just playing his character. He's being genuine. He actually thinks that PUBG is dog shit. But people watch. So many people watch. He's the biggest PUBG streamer. He may not have the biggest amount of followers on Twitch, but when he streams PUBG, he's #1. He beats out Shroud by like 8k. Shroud will be at like 25,000. He's at like 32,000, something like that. You know, he's the #1 guy. They're doing it to pay the bills. People love watching PUBG, and so he's getting the most viewers, he's getting the most subscribers, he's getting the most money. That's what it is. What's the benefit of improving PUBG if major streamers continue to stream and people buy? There isn't. They've already made so much money off of PUBG, they could just do the DayZ thing, drop the game, walk away. Guess what? They're rich for the rest of their fucking lives. Think I should have some form of viewer interaction through the podcast. Just my opinion. Dismiss it if you wish. I'll still watch. I'm not sure how to implement viewer interaction. Maybe if I just read out loud. If I'm like, Drewfologist asks, is there any chat engagement planned or only monologues? Maybe. I don't know. I might. The last game I mentioned was The Evil Within, by the way. The Evil Within, and then I talked about The Evil Within 2, and then I talk about Wolfenstein: The New Order. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Wolfenstein: The New Order is probably it. It's really good. Wolfenstein 2 is coming out at the end of this month, so play Wolfenstein: The New Order. God damn, it's so good. If you don't care about playing on console, you could probably pick the game up on console for cheaperoonie. Like $5 or something. And hey, you might not have great performance, but the PC performance is shit as well. So, you know, maybe just pick it up for $5. I think I'm gonna go ahead and end it now. Pretty long for the first CZ Productions podcast, 1 hour and 37 minutes. I think that's pretty good. People can listen to it. What's gonna happen now is I'm going to stop live streaming. The live stream, in case you missed some of it, it will be up on Twitch instantly. All of it will be up on Twitch, so if you just want to watch that, if you want to watch the more refined version of the podcast, then that will be up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/ccproductions, in a few days. What I plan on doing is whenever I'm talking about a topic such as I'm giving my opinions on PUBG, I will edit in some PUBG footage and put my face in like the corner, so whatever I'm talking about, there will be footage of it, probably. That's what I'm planning to do, at least. Also, I'm going to render only the audio and upload it as an MP3 file, so anybody who wants to just download the MP3 and listen to it of the podcast, they can do that as well. And that will be coming in a couple days when I upload the podcast. That will be a separate thing. That'll be in the description. You'll be able to go in the description. You'll be able to download the MP3 version, and you can download it on your Wi-Fi. There'll be a small little download, and then you can, you know, listen to it at the gym or whatever. I don't know. Apologies that most of the stream today was talking about more serious stuff, but there was a lot of serious stuff with the PewDiePie fiasco, a lot of stuff about gun control coming up, plus my experience of buying a gun right now. I wanted to talk about it. Probably in the next podcast, I will get to show you guys the gun. It'll probably be here by then. In terms of when these podcasts are going to happen, like how frequently, I'm really not sure yet. I haven't worked that out. It just really depends on what I have to talk about, right? I want to have enough to talk about for at least an hour. And so I can't promise like, oh, it's gonna be every Friday, because I'm not sure if I'll have enough to talk about every Friday, especially when you consider that most of these podcasts that do run every week, say the Co-optional podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts, that has usually 4 people all talking. So that's 4 people talking, and it's no surprise that every week they can talk for like 2-3 hours. When it's only one guy, that's a little bit harder. So we'll get there. I'm actually working on having some guests come in. I would just have friends come in, but most of my friends aren't really gamers or anything like that, so they wouldn't have a ton to contribute. So I'm working on getting in some guests that are a little bigger, that you probably know from really big YouTube channels, actually, even. So I'm working on that. Don't want to say anything yet because nothing's official, but we're working on it. I'm in contact with people. My people are in contact with their people, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we're working on it, you know, to maybe do a little give and trade, right? Maybe do a little I'm on your podcast, you're on my podcast kind of thing. You know how it is. Anyway, appreciate everybody who watched the live show. Appreciate everybody who watches this when it's archived. You guys are all wonderful. Please leave any constructive criticism you have. It's my first podcast ever, so whatever you think should be done. Just don't say something stupid like that one guy. Can you stop cussing so much? I really don't like it. I'm trying to watch this in church, and everybody's staring at me because you keep saying the fuck word. No, I will not change the way that I talk, but if you have any, like, technical, constructive, maybe you don't like the music, maybe you like the music, you want it to be louder, I don't know. Let me know. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate all of you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.